Okay, any difficulty in tonsillitis? Is there any difficulty? Okay. Yesterday we have completed acute tonsillitis. Okay. Now the okay next topic is adenoids. But before that, we'll complete a short note that is chronic tonsillitis. Okay, chronic tonsillitis is also commonest chronic infection. Etiological factors are same as that of acute tonsillitis. Now, what are the etiological factors of acute tonsillitis? What are the etiological factors of acute tonsillitis? Predisposing factors क्या है acute tonsillitis के? Okay, pre-existing upper respiratory tract infection और sinusitis है या फिर okay. Then if the patient's resistance is low or if there is residual tonsillar tissue that remain after tonsillectomy, and there are some exogenous factors like ingestion of cold drinks, cold food, or it may spread from one person to other, that is contagious. Then it may be seasonal. Okay, so all those predisposing factors are same as that of acute tonsillitis. Then symptoms of chronic tonsillitis, there will be recurrent pain in throat during acute attacks. Okay, whenever a patient gets an acute attack, then there will be recurrent pain. There will be cough. Then there will be halitosis because of cheesy material that is present in the tonsillar crypts. In the tonsillar crypts, there will be cheesy material, white color material will be present, and that because of that material, there will be halitosis. And in quiescent phase, there will be vague discomfort in throat with irritation and pain. And but often patient will be asymptomatic in quiescent phase. Okay, so these are the symptoms, that is recurrent pain in throat, cough, halitosis, etc. And vague discomfort will be present in the throat and irritation. Then the signs in chronic tonsillitis, that is how the tonsils appear. Like in first, if there is chronic parenchymatous tonsillitis, mostly in children, there will be hypertrophied tonsils and they are congested. So we have seen there are two types of tonsillitis, parenchymatous and follicular. So in chronic parenchymatous tonsillitis, there will be hypertrophied tonsils and they are red and congested. And in chronic follicular tonsillitis, it is mostly seen in adults. The tonsils are normal, or they may be smaller in size, or they become fibrotic, and there will be yellowish cheesy debris that can be seen in crypts of the tonsils. Then if you squeeze the tonsils, the pus may ooze out through the tonsils because there is collection of pus, that is cheesy material that is collected in the crypts of the tonsils. If you squeeze the tonsil, pus may ooze out. Then there may be a retention cyst may be present occasionally on the surface of tonsils, and that will appear as cystic yellowish swelling that contains yellow liquid debris, that is retention cyst may be present on the tonsil. And the jugular-digastric nodes, they are enlarged, that is the significant sign for tonsillitis. And treatment is same, that is antibiotics, analgesics you have to give, and you have to give the nutritious diet and also vitamins are given. And the treatment for chronic tonsillitis is tonsillectomy. If patient is a patient of chronic tonsillitis, then the surgical procedure that is done, that is tonsillectomy. You have to remove the tonsils if the patient is having stubborn chronic tonsillitis. Okay, that is all about the chronic tonsillitis. Okay, now the next topic, that is adenoids. Okay, what are the adenoids? Do you know about the adenoids? एडिनॉइड क्या है, पता है कि नहीं पता है? Okay, no one is answering, so you don't know about the adenoids. Okay, adenoids are, okay, I am telling. Okay, adenoids are they are also called as nasopharyngeal tonsils. Okay, जर normally आपण बघतो through the oral cavity, those are the tubal tonsils, and these adenoids are, they are present in the nasopharynx. Okay, and these adenoids are also called as nasopharyngeal tonsils. Okay, so when the hypertrophied nasopharyngeal tonsils will start producing symptoms, then the condition is called as adenoids. Okay, the nasopharyngeal tonsils are also called as adenoids, but when these hypertrophied nasopharyngeal tonsils will start producing some symptoms, then that condition is called as adenoids. Okay, the normally the involution of nasopharyngeal tonsil will start from the onset of puberty, but it can persist for a longer period. So what are the etiological factors of adenoids? Adenoids के etiological factors है, first one is age, that is common between the 3 and 10 years of age, between the age of 3 and 10 years. Physiological etiological factor, that is hypertrophy of nasopharyngeal tonsil is physiological, but if it produces some symptoms, then it is considered as unhealthy. Okay, normally there will be hypertrophy of nasopharyngeal tonsils, it is physiological. Okay, but if it produces symptoms, then they are considered to be unhealthy. The next etiological factor is infection, non-specific or rarely. The infection is non-specific. There is no um, such bacteria that this bacteria will cause this adenoids or nasopharyngeal hypertrophy. It is a non-specific infection, and rarely tuberculosis may cause adenoids. The next predisposing factors are, they are similar to the acute and chronic tonsillitis. They are same as that of acute or chronic tonsillitis, like upper respiratory tract infection, post-nasal discharge in sinusitis, then load resistance of the patient, and exanthematous diseases. Now, yesterday's homework, what is exanthemata or exanthematous diseases? Which disease? Oh, okay. The disease condition in which exanthematous rash is present, the diseases in which the exanthematous rash is present, that is chickenpox, measles, अजून काय? ओके, ठीक है। जो डिजीजेस में रैश प्रेजेंट रहती है वो दैट इज द एक्सांथेमाटिस डिजीज, मीजल्स। ओके ओके, हाँ। So these are the etiological factors of adenoids. First one is age group that is affected, 3 to 10 years. Then it is physiological. The hypertrophy of nasopharyngeal tonsil is physiological, but it produces, when it produces symptoms, then these adenoids are considered to be unhealthy. Then infection that causes adenoid, that is non-specific infection, and rarely tuberculosis may cause adenoids, and the predisposing factors are same as that of tonsillitis, that is URTI, postnasal discharge in sinusitis, general lowering of the resistance, and exanthemata. Okay, these are the adenoid faces, how the patient of adenoid will look. Okay, so this is the adenoid. Okay, this one is adenoid. This is nasopharynx. Okay, and in nasopharynx, this on the posterior wall of the nasopharynx, the nasopharyngeal tonsils are present, and when they get hypertrophied, then and when they show symptoms, then that condition is called as adenoid. Okay. Okay, this is adenoid face. Okay, there will be sunken eyes, narrow pinched nostrils, open mouth, high arched palate. The teeth are crowded. Then there is dull mask-like face with protruding teeth. There will be drooling of saliva from the corner of mouth. Then the lips are everted. There will be rhinorrhea, and there will be loss of nasolabial fold. Okay, this the adenoid face, patient of adenoids will look like this, adenoid face. Okay. Okay, now the clinical features of adenoids. So the clinical features when they are associated with obstruction, that is, first one is nasal obstruction. It leads to mouth breathing. Okay, because of nasal obstruction, if the nose is obstructed, then patient have to breathe through mouth. Okay, so there will be mouth breathing, there will be snoring, and there will be drooling of saliva from mouth. There is difficulty in eating, particularly in infants. Okay, this all symptoms are because of nasal obstruction. When the nose is obstructed, there will be mouth breathing, snoring, drooling of saliva from mouth, and difficulty in eating, particularly in infants. Then the adenoid face, nose becomes pinched. Okay, in adenoid faces there will be uh, pinching of nose, it, and it becomes narrow because of lack of respiratory airflow. The mouth remains open at night also, and there will be the teeth will protrude, they are irregular and crowded. The lower jaw becomes undershot, and there will be high arched palate. There will be drooling of saliva as the mouth remains open. There will be drooling of saliva, and the face is expressionless. The voice becomes flat and toneless, and there will be rhinorrhea. So, when there is, once again, I will repeat the clinical features when it is associated with obstruction. Okay, first one is when there is nasal obstruction that will cause mouth breathing, snoring, drooling of saliva from mouth. There will be difficulty in eating, particularly in infants, and patient will develop adenoid phase gradually. There will be the nose is pinched and it becomes narrow because of lack of respiratory airflow plus chronic nasal discharge. Okay. Then the mouth remains open mostly at night. The teeth will start protruding. They become irregular and crowded. There will be high arched palate and drooling of saliva. The face becomes expressionless, and all these features combine to give adenoid faces. Okay. And also there will be the symptoms of the chest become flattened. Okay, if there is combination of rickets and nasal obstruction, there will be pigeon chest, and the Harrison sulcus may develop as a result of inspiratory dyspnea, and soft chest will be there. The voice may become flat and toneless. Okay, now the okay, today's homework is what is pigeon chest and Harrison sulcus. You have to tell me tomorrow what is pigeon chest and Harrison's sulcus. Next clinical feature is because of eustachian tube obstruction. As if the eustachian tube is obstructed, it will lead to middle ear diseases like eustachian catarrh or serous otitis media or acute otitis media or chronic otitis media, and that will cause deafness and otorrhea. Okay, as the eustachian tube is obstructed or when it is blocked, it will develop or it will lead to middle ear diseases, that is eustachian catarrh or serous otitis media or acute or chronic otitis media, and all these conditions may lead to deafness or otorrhea. These symptoms are because of obstruction. These symptoms are due to obstruction or they are associated with obstruction. Now the symptoms, those are associated with infection. When there is infection, then what are the symptoms that are present? Those are, first one is in nose, there will be purulent discharge from nose. Okay, that is there will be rhinitis or sinusitis may be present. Then in throat, there will be recurrent upper respiratory tract infection. There may be post-nasal discharge, pharyngitis or tonsillitis, and cough may be present. Then the symptoms that are present in the ear, that is recurrent eustachian catarrh, acute or chronic otitis media or serous otitis media. Then there will be lymphadenitis, that is upper deep cervical lymph nodes are enlarged and inflamed. Then the bronchial asthma and bronchitis, if present, that may get aggravated. Okay, if the patient is asthmatic or if he is a patient of chronic bronchitis, that may get aggravated because of infection. So these are the symptoms that are associated with infection. Okay, there will be purulent discharge from nose. There will be recurrent URTI or postnasal discharge, or that may cause pharyngitis or tonsillitis. Cough is present. Then uh, there will be recurrent eustachian catarrh or acute or chronic otitis media, and the deep cervical lymph nodes, they are inflamed and enlarged, that is there will be lymphadenitis. And if the patient is of asthma or chronic bronchitis, then those conditions get aggravated because of this infection. And third one is general symptoms, like there will be nocturnal enuresis and night terrors are because of uh, these are present because of suffocation, and there will be mental backwardness, It is not real, but deafness can cause difficulties in studies. ओके, जॉईन केले का सगळ्यांनी? आवाज येतोय? ओके, एनी डिफिकल्टी अप टिल नाउ अबाउट adenoids? समजलं नसेल तर लगेच विचारा. इज देअर एनी डिफिकल्टी? म्यूट करा, कोणाचे आवाज येतात ते. ओके, एनी डिफिकल्टी? Okay, then now how to diagnose the case of adenoids? With the help of clinical feature. Diagnosis of adenoids is with the help of clinical features. Okay, you can come to know with the help of the adenoid face. If the adenoid face is present, then you will certainly come to know about the adenoids. So clinical features is one of the criteria for diagnosis of adenoids. Then next one is posterior rhinoscopy is done. Then next one is digital palpation. पोस्टेरियर रायनोस्कोपी मधून काय समजेल आपल्याला? What you will come to know with the help of posterior rhinoscopy? Obstruction because of hypertrophy कळेल, hypertrophy of nasopharyngeal tonsils. Okay. Then you have to do digital palpation. Uh, it is unpleasant procedure, so it is avoided. Better to avoid the digital palpation. Then you have to do radiological examination, that is lateral view of nasopharynx is taken and it will show soft tissue shadow of nasopharyngeal tonsils. Then examination under general anesthesia at the time of tonsillectomy or adenoidectomy can be done if it is required. So how to diagnose the adenoids is first with the help of clinical features, then with the help of posterior rhinoscopy and radiological examination. Now the differential diagnosis of adenoid. First one is nasal obstruction. Nasal obstruction may be because of rhinitis or sinusitis or nasal polyp or DNS or hypertrophied turbinates, or it may be because of allergy. So you have to differentiate all these conditions with adenoids. The next is orthodontic abnormalities, that is high arched palate with protruding teeth without nasal obstruction. If there is no nasal obstruction and there is high arched palate with protruding teeth, it may be a orthodontic abnormality. Okay, now the treatment of adenoids, that is conservative treatment, that is you have to give the antibiotics for infection, then you have to give the decongestants to re-establish the breathing. Okay, there is a congestion and edema in the nose, so you have to use the decongestant um, to re-establish the breathing. Then you have to improve the general health of the patient as well as hygiene. Then some breathing exercises are advised to the patient. So in mild cases, the conservative treatment is helpful. Okay, and the conservative treatment is antibiotics, analgesic. If pain is there, then you have to give analgesics. Decongestants are given to re-establish the breathing, and you have to improve the general health and hygiene of the patient. And exercise, that is breathing exercises, are advised to the patient. Then lastly, the surgical treatment, that is adenoidectomy in patients with recurrent and persistent problem. Okay, if the patient is having recurrent uh, nasopharyngeal infection, or if the problem is persistent, then that means if the patient is the hypertrophic tonsils are causing symptoms, and then you have to go for adenoidectomy. You have to remove the adenoids or nasopharyngeal tonsils. That is the surgical treatment. Okay, is there any difficulty? Any difficulty? रिपीट करना है फिर से एक बार कि नहीं करना है? Shall I repeat once the adenoids? Is there any difficulty? नहीं है ना? ठीक है. Okay, we'll start with the next topic then, pharyngitis. Now, what is pharyngitis? Very good. Pharyngeal infection. Okay. It is also a very common infection, and the etiological factors are also mostly same as that of acute tonsillitis. Okay. एक minute. Okay, first in pharyngitis, first topic is nasopharyngitis. It may be acute or chronic. Um, in acute nasopharyngitis, this acute nasopharyngitis may be viral or it may be bacterial, and it follows the nasal or sinus infection. Obviously, there will be, if the patient is having rhinitis, then patient may have, or if patient is having sinusitis, then patient will land into, or patient may have nasopharyngitis. Okay, as there is rhinitis, patient will have nasopharyngitis, or when there is sinusitis because of postnasal discharge, patient will have nasopharyngitis. The clinical features of acute nasopharyngitis are there will be first dry burning sensation in throat, that pain is aggravated on swallowing, and constitutional symptoms are present. Constitutional symptoms like fever, malaise, weakness, um, tachycardia, etc. Those symptoms are present. In acute nasopharyngitis, patient will complain of there will be throat pain, that is dry burning sensation in throat, and the pain will be aggravated by on swallowing, and there will be fever, weakness, malaise, and tachycardia. In chronic simple pharyngitis, the clinical features are there will be post-nasal discharge, there will be inspiratory snoring, that is scratching the nose with noise, that is inspiratory snoring. The mucopurulent and sticky discharge will be there with granular pharyngitis. Okay, there will be post-nasal discharge in chronic simple nasopharyngitis. The differential diagnosis of nasopharyngitis are nasopharyngeal tumor, then you have to exclude the psychiatric problems if they are present, or if enteroanal polyp or chronic sinusitis, that those chronic sinusitis or enteroanal polyp will resemble that of nasopharyngitis. In chronic sinusitis, there will be post-nasal discharge. Treatment, you have to treat the cause first. If it is because of rhinitis, you have to treat the rhinitis. Or if it is because of sinusitis, then you have to give the treatment for first to the sinusitis. So you have to treat the cause, then you have to give the alkaline nasal douches and gargles to dislodge the secretions. So you have to keep the nasal cavity clean and moist. Okay, now the oropharyngeal and laryngopharyngeal infections, they are non-specific and specific. Non-specific are they contains acute pharyngitis and chronic pharyngitis. Non-specific are acute pharyngitis and chronic pharyngitis, and specific is again divided into acute and chronic. Acute, it contains Vincent's angina, diphtheria, fungus, that is thrush or actinomycosis, herpes, and glandular fever. And the chronic nasopharyngeal or laryngopharyngeal infection will contain tuberculosis, syphilis, scleroma, leprosy, sarcoidosis, and granulomas. So first is acute pharyngitis. Okay, it can be asked in exam. Acute pharyngitis. It is a very common infection, and the etiological factors are same as that of chronic, acute tonsillitis. So common viral cold is the common cause of acute pharyngitis. The bacterial infection like Streptococcus hemolyticus, pneumococcus, or Haemophilus influenzae, and exanthemata. These are the etiological factors of pharyngitis. Okay. So, in acute pharyngitis, the etiological factors are they are same as that of acute tonsillitis, that is pre-existing URTI or post-nasal discharge or low resistance of the patient, and obviously cold drinks, cold food, pollution, as well as common cold, that is bacterial infection, that is streptococcus because of Streptococcus hemolyticus, pneumococcus or Haemophilus influenzae, and exanthemata. These are the etiological factors of pharyngitis. Then in pathology, there will be congestion of lymphoid tissue and mucosa of its gland. Now the clinical features of pharyngitis. These are also mostly same as that of the acute tonsillitis. That is, there will be raw sensation, throat pain, there will be refusal to eat, the voice becomes thick and muffled, and constitutional symptoms like fever, body ache, malaise, they are present. Okay, the clinical features are same as that of acute tonsillitis. But there are some stages, like first stage is catarrhal stage. In catarrhal stage, there will be congestion on posterior pharyngeal wall and it will appear like red velvet. The vulva, it becomes edematous. Okay. The second stage is purulent stage. The pharyngeal wall may be coated with mucopurulent discharge. And third stage is ulcerative or gangrenous stage. In extreme cases, there will be ulceration with membrane formation. Okay, these are the three stages of acute pharyngitis. Okay, acute non-specific pharyngitis. Clinical features you have to write down as same as that of acute tonsillitis. Okay, raw sensation, throat pain, refusal to eat, voice becomes thick and muffled, and constitutional symptoms are present. As well as you have to write these three stages, that is catarrhal stage where there is congestion edema, purulent stage, that is when there is the pharyngeal wall is coated with mucopurulent discharge, and third stage, in severe cases there will be ulceration and membrane formation on the posterior wall of pharynx. Then the differential diagnosis. These systemic disorders, if the patient with ulceration on posterior wall appears to be toxic, then systemic disorders like agranulocytosis or pernicious anemia and AIDS, they should be excluded. So you have to exclude these conditions, that is agranulocytosis or pernicious anemia or AIDS, if patient is having ulceration on the posterior wall of pharynx and if the patient appear toxic. Okay, then you have to exclude these conditions. Then diphtheria also resemble like that of severe ulcerative pharyngitis. As we have seen in clinical features, there is membrane formation on the posterior wall of pharynx in ulcerative stage. Okay, so diphtheria will also resemble like that. In diphtheria also there will be a membrane formation on the posterior wall of pharynx if it is pharyngeal diphtheria or facial diphtheria. Then third condition, that is exanthemata. These all conditions like granulocytosis, pernicious anemia or AIDS, then diphtheria and exanthematous diseases. You have to differentiate all these conditions. Then lastly, treatment. Treatment is same, that is analgesics, antibiotics. Then you have to advise the bed rest. Then warm saline gargles are advised to the patient, and the lozenges are given, and soft diet. Okay, any difficulty? Acute pharyngitis. अरे सुन रहे हो कि नहीं सुन रहे हो कुछ? हेलो, सुन रहे हो कि नहीं सुन रहे हो सब लोग? के सो गए? नहीं ना? समजलं का acute pharyngitis? Okay, this can be asked for 10 marks question, acute pharyngitis. Okay, or as a short note. Okay, today's homework क्या है? होमवर्क क्या बताया था मैंने? पिजन चेस्ट एंड हैरिसन सल्कस. हैरिसन सल्कस. ओके, राइट डाउन. राइट डाउन पिजन चेस्ट एंड हैरिसन सल्कस. Okay, chalo, I will end the meeting now.